You've probably had this experience before. You grab a fresh bag of chips, excited for that first crunchy bite, only to open it and feel slightly betrayed. The bag looks huge, but once it's open, it feels like half of it is just air. And that raises an interesting question. Why do chip bags have so much air inside? Is it a marketing trick? Are companies trying to make the bag appear larger than it actually is? Or is there actually a scientific reason behind all that empty space? Today we're opening up the surprisingly clever science behind snack packaging, right here, on History of Simple Things. Before we discuss the bag, we need to talk about what's inside it. The story of potato chips is often traced back to 1853 in Saratoga Springs. Although a popular legend claims that chef George Crumb invented potato chips in response to a customer's complaints about thick fried potatoes, Snopes reports that this origin story is a myth, and historians have pointed out several inconsistencies with the account. Instead, they loved them. Those crispy slices became known as Saratoga chips, and they quickly became popular. For many years, chips were made fresh and served locally. It wasn't until the early 20th century that they began to be mass-produced and packaged for stores. And that created a big problem. How do you keep something thin, fragile, and crispy from turning into stale crumbs before people eat it? That problem led to some very clever packaging science. To understand why chip bags contain air, we first need to understand what threatens chips. The three biggest enemies are oxygen, moisture, and physical pressure. Each one can ruin a bag of chips in a different way. Oxygen causes fats and oils in chips to oxidize, which creates stale, unpleasant flavors. Moisture makes chips lose their crunch. And pressure during shipping, stacking, and transport can crush them into sad little fragments. So packaging has to solve all three problems at once. That's where the air comes in. Here's the first big surprise. That puffed-up space inside a chip bag usually isn't filled with normal air. It's mostly filled with nitrogen gas. This process is called nitrogen flushing. Instead of sealing chips in regular atmospheric air, which contains about 21% oxygen, manufacturers remove most of that oxygen and replace it with nitrogen. Why nitrogen? Because nitrogen is an inert gas. That means it doesn't easily react with other substances. It won't cause oils in chips to break down or turn rancid. It simply sits there protecting the chips. So when you open a bag and hear that satisfying hiss, you're hearing nitrogen escaping, not ordinary air. Nitrogen serves two major purposes. First, it keeps chips fresh. Without oxygen, the oxidation process slows dramatically. This helps preserve flavor, smell, and texture. Second, it acts like a protective cushion. Think of it like a tiny built-in airbag for your snacks. As bags get tossed around during shipping, stacked in warehouses, or squeezed on store shelves, the nitrogen-filled space absorbs pressure. Without it, many chips would arrive as crushed crumbs. So that empty space is actually doing important work. It's protecting your chips from becoming expensive potato dust. This is where many people get suspicious. If nitrogen is helpful, why not simply use a smaller bag with less empty space? The answer involves packaging mechanics. Chips are fragile and irregularly shaped. A completely full bag would create too much internal pressure. The chips would grind against each other and break during transport. Leaving space allows them to shift slightly without excessive crushing. There's also another factor: machines. packaging equipment is calibrated for specific bag sizes, filling speeds, and sealing processes. Changing bag dimensions too dramatically can affect efficiency and protection. So while bag size does involve marketing and shelf visibility, it's also partly about logistics and product safety. Let's talk about what happens if chips are exposed to oxygen. Chips contain oils from frying. When these oils react with oxygen, they undergo oxidation, a chemical process that breaks fats into smaller compounds. Some of these compounds produce unpleasant smells and flavors. That stale chip taste? That's oxidation at work. Moisture creates another problem. Crispness depends on chips staying dry. When water molecules enter the chip, they soften its structure and ruin that satisfying crunch. The nitrogen-filled environment helps slow both problems. Take a look inside most chip bags, and you'll notice something interesting. The interior usually has a metallic reflective surface. That's because chip bags are made from layers of plastic combined with a thin aluminum coating. This special material helps block light, oxygen, and moisture. Light can also speed up chemical reactions that damage food, so the shiny lining acts like a shield, protecting chips from multiple threats. The bag itself is part of a carefully engineered preservation system. Have you ever noticed that chip bags seem puffier on airplanes or in the mountains? That's because of air pressure. At higher altitudes, external air pressure decreases. The nitrogen inside the sealed bag expands slightly, making the bag puff up. The same reason your ears pop on a plane is affecting your chips. Is it just a marketing trick? This is probably the biggest question people ask. And the honest answer is, partly, but not entirely. Companies design packaging to stand out visually on shelves. A larger bag can attract more attention and create a stronger brand presence. But the internal gas space is not just fake filler. It serves real scientific purposes, preserving freshness, preventing crushing, and extending shelf life. Without it, your chips would likely arrive stale or broken. So while marketing may influence the final appearance, the nitrogen cushion itself is very real and necessary. Here are a few surprising facts. The crunch of a potato chip is so important that food scientists actually study chip sound to improve snack satisfaction. Some premium chip brands carefully adjust nitrogen levels depending on the chip's thickness and fragility, and unopened chip bags can sometimes stay fresh for months because nitrogen slows spoilage so effectively. So why do chip bags have air inside? Because that space is usually filled with nitrogen, a gas that helps keep chips fresh, crispy, and protected from getting crushed. So the next time you open a bag and feel like it's half empty, remember, you're not paying for empty space. You're paying for smart packaging science that keeps your chips tasting exactly the way they should. Thank you for watching. If you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the history of simple things. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories woven through the smallest details.